3D Disney, and this will be the Simba acrylic nail art tutorial. And here are the rest of the nails in this series. So begin by creating an overlay on your nail tip or on your nail, depending on if you're doing this on a tip or if you're just actually doing it on your nails. I'm using a silver and green acrylic mix, and I'm keeping this really thin just because I don't want it with the 3D art to get super thick. So now with a golden color, I'm going to start by sculpting his head in about the middle of the nail, and I'm just going to pick a shape, and if it's not right, you can always go back and fix it. It's going to be kind of hard to get it exactly how it should be on the first try, so think about it. You're trying to make it smaller, and if you need to make it bigger, that's fine. You don't want to try and make it bigger and then have to file it off to make it smaller. And then add little thin sections up above on like the top corners of his head, like at 10 and 2 if you're looking at a clock, for his ears, like the top section of his ears. So now I'm going to be adding the bridge of his nose and like up on his forehead too. So I'm going to be thickening this area. So I'm just going to, almost like you're doing a reverse French tip with acrylic, just to kind of get that little ledge by where his nose is, and try to leave his eye socket areas thinner. Don't add extra acrylic there. So now, as I said before, I'm going to add a little bit more acrylic to like the jawline to make that a little bit bigger. And now I'm going to be adding a layer covering the entire tip of the nail. Well, almost the entire tip. There's going to be a little section right like in the corner there that I'm leaving the green. But keep that as thin as you can too. Alright, and sorry I'm off camera. I have a horrible tendency, but with a lighter shade of that golden color, just press up right like you were actually creating a French tip in the middle of his face, which would be a little strange, but you never know. And then add his chin below that with and I said this is a lighter shade, so I just mixed some white in it because you want it to be basically the same color, but just a little bit lighter. And this is just the first layer of this color. So now I'm also going to be adding some of that lighter color on his chest, and then I'm just going to like flick it out with my brush just to create some fur. And I'm actually going to be lightening up his the face area that's the lighter color with just not watered, but really thin white acrylic. And then I'm going to be adding a second layer of the light color to the top of his face. And then as I pull it down, I'm going to kind of create like a little dent in the middle. Do you know how cats' faces are? They've got like the little, almost like a rounded W-shape mouth. So that's what we're going for. And then a little bit more on his chin. So I'm going to add some brown acrylic into each ear, and since the nail isn't very wide, you can see that there's not really all of that much ear there to add it to, but whatever area is there, I'm just going to fill in with the brown. And then with very wet brown acrylic, so this is almost all monomer, I'm going to be filling in his eyelids. And this is also part of the reason why you want to keep what I said is eye socket areas really thin, is because it is going to get thicker as we work on it. So I'm adding this brown. And as you're doing this, you're going to want to check back and forth to see if they're even from side to side. And I'm also going to be doing a little bit of shading with this really super thin brown acrylic underneath his jawline to separate like his head from his body. And then form his nose with pink. And so now with really thin black acrylic, you're going to be doing a little line at the bottom of each ear. And then you're also going to be doing his eyebrows with the brown acrylic. Simba's eyes are pretty much outlined, but we're just going to do his eyebrows because we don't want it to be thick, the rest of it to be thick. We just want it to be flat, so we're going to use paint for that. So then with the lighter color we've been using, just create like the lower edge of where his eyelids are. This is another little highlight. And for all these finer details, the acrylic I'm using is so thin that you could almost paint with it. So now with yellow paint, this is actually paint now, I'm going to be painting in like the first step of his eyes. So this would be like the white of his eyes, but his eyes are actually yellow. So then the next part is going to be creating a brown circle inside that yellow oval. So then if you just dip your brush without washing it into some water, you'll get watered down brown paint, and I'm just going to shade his chin a little bit and then put a black dot in each eye for the pupil, and I'm just going to put a couple little dots along his cheeks just for whiskers, and also I'm going to darken his nostrils too. And so now, as I mentioned, those final outlines, I'm going to be outlining around the rest of his eyelids, and then I'm also going to do, I know I'm off camera, I keep doing that, I'm so sorry. So I'm going to do the eyelid on the other side as well, and then his ear. And so for his ear, I'm going to outline between the golden color and the brown. So I'm going to do that first. And then I'm going to outline down the side of his face, just like that. And once again, I'm off camera. So now add a little reflection in each eye. And then I'm using matte top coat over the 3D Simba, and you're going to want to really focus on the areas that you use the acrylic paint. So his eyes and his ears and like his nose and face area, and then glossy top coat on the rest. Now I'm going to put just a spot of the glossy top coat in his eyes. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like my design. Please share recreations with me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I would love to see them. Check out the rest of this little series, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!